Hello my friends and welcome back to another episode of Oldschool Runescape Explained. In today's episode we are going to be taking a look at one of RuneScape's oldest bosses in the Dagganoth Kings. But before we get into the episode, there are two things that I want to talk about first. So to start off with, this is one of two guides that I've created about the Dagganoth Kings. In this guide it is far shorter than the other one, which is far more in depth and retains a lot more information about the Dagganoth Kings. This guide was created for players who have either done the Dagganoth Kings before and need a quick refresher on how to do them, or for players who simply do not want to sit through a half-hour long episode of Oldschool Runescape Explained, where I go a lot deeper into these bosses. So if you are someone whose matches either one of these criteria, then enjoy the episode, but if you are someone who has never done the Dagganoth Kings before, then I recommend heading over to that much longer episode where you can learn about everything about the Dagganoth Kings. Secondly, I want to talk to you for a moment about another video series that I am creating on this channel, which is called Maxed, and in Maxed it is my goal to become the first player in RuneScape history to achieve the maximum total level in every game mode. Whether it's the main version of the game, or in the new League mode, which was released last year, or in Deadman mode, or all four of the Iron Man modes, I will become the first player in RuneScape history to essentially max in every version of the game. So that if that sounds like your cup of tea, then why not check out the Max playlist that I have on my channel and check out all the progress that I've made so far in the series. As it stands, I have already maxed in the main version of Oldschool Runescape and in the brand new League mode, having accomplished the 227 total level in the Twisted League. And later on this year I'll be maxing in free to play and in Deadman mode, so come and join me on my journey. So now that we have all that out of the way, let's get into the Dagganoth Kings. So if you are sticking it out in this episode of Oldschool Runescape Explained, then I assume that you already know what type of gear to bring. But for a quick refresher, this is the type of gear that I usually bring to the Dagganoth Kings if I am on a Slayer assignment, or if I just feel doing a trip there. I'm also going to assume that you know how to do the drop trick and how it works before starting your trip. So once we've picked up the potion that we left on the ground before running to the cave entrance, we can begin our journey to the Dagganoth Kings. I recommend taking a sip of stamina potion before you begin your run to the Kings, and please remember to bring your rune throwing axes and the pet rock if you are a solo player. So now that we are at the Kings, we are going to take a sip of Sourdough Brew, then one of our Sanfru serums, and a super combat potion before beginning the fight. The order in which you want to kill the Dagganoth Kings is you kill Dagganoth Supreme first, then Dagganoth Rex, and then Dagganoth Prime. This begins the rotation in which, for the duration of your trip, you want to keep up as long as possible. When I start a trip at the Dagganoth Kings, this is how I always start my trip, and from there I maintain the rotation for as long as possible until I run out of supplies. Also, keep in mind that you can use your Sourdough and God Sword special attack to heal your HP back up to full if you get damaged on Dagganoth Supreme, or you can use your Blood Barrage or Sangristi Staff, if you have one, on Dagganoth Rex to also heal back up. That way we don't have to use our Sourdough and Brews and brew down our stats, as our brews are just there for an emergency situation, such as 2 kings spawning at the same time if you were too slow in keeping up the rotation. And that, my friends, was the episode. Like I said, there is another much longer episode of Oldschool Runescape Explained, where I essentially go into everything that you need to know. But I know that there are also players out there who don't want to sit through a half-hour long video, and with this episode you can basically see what to do, what to pray, and what type of gear to bring. If you felt like this episode wasn't long enough and you're still a bit stuck, then I recommend heading over to my much longer guide on the Dagganoth Kings, which, as I said, goes over pretty much everything. You can find a link to the much longer Dagganoth Kings guide, as well as the playlist for Oldschool Runescape Explained and my Max video series, in the description box of this video. I am looking for more ideas for Oldschool Runescape Explained, so if there is any subject that you want me to cover, then please leave me a comment down below with your suggestions. I always make sure to read your comments. And so with that said and done, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode of Oldschool Runescape Explained.